Hey everybody, what's good? It's your boy Stevie G. Welcome to the Seamless Garage podcast, and let's get into it. So I told you guys we were gonna do a series first in the first of the week. We're gonna start a series where we do something on the first of the week, and then we're gonna do our regular podcast at the end of the week. The dates aren't set, obviously, but this is what we're doing. So check the previous episode if you want to know all about it. But this is gonna be car number one. Derek couldn't make it today. He's been a little under the weather. He's been sick. So I'm going to do this one by myself. I really wish I had him along, but I want to get you guys this content out because if you haven't noticed already, he's really good with the muscle cars. Like, that's his thing. He knows a lot about them, and I could have learned a lot over the years from my grandparents and my brother's dad and whatnot, but like I said, I wasn't as interested as much. But there were certain cars that caught my eye, like this one. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna make these episodes kind of short and sweet and to the point, to just kind of give you some information, some matter of fact, and just some cool little tidbits that are interesting. So this first one is Blade's Dodge Charger from the movies Blade, Blade 2, Blade Trinity. It was in all of the movies, all the Blade movies. So that's what we're doing the episode on. But before I do that, hey, so just remember, check out our YouTube channel. If you don't know already, we have a YouTube channel out basically covering everything in the shop. And also the podcast. So it's another platform. So if you're watching this, obviously you already know about the YouTube channel. But if you're listening on our podcast, or you found us on Facebook, or whatever, we do have a YouTube channel, and you can see the video form of these podcasts. There will be adding pictures and things like that to kind of give detail and context on what we're talking about at the time. Follow me along this journey. I am documenting, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to portray myself the way I normally am. I feel like on camera, sometimes I'm a little stale and I'm not really myself. So I'm trying to portray my personality and get used to being on camera. It's kind of difficult, but I'm going to get through it because I really want to do this. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's just a learning process. Even recording myself on podcasts, that was a big step for me. So just being on this podcast in general, I feel really good about it. But yeah, follow along as we get better at this. I'm gonna learn how to edit better on videos, and like I said, insert photos and videos of different things, and also the podcast and the YouTube channel and Seamless in general as a brand will get better over time. Obviously, as you probably already know, but it will get better over time as we get better, and there will be more content, more exciting content. We're at the bare bones beginning, so we've got cars that are being built, but we don't have any built yet, because I would love to do some live action footage of us just ripping, you know what I'm saying, tire smoke, just donuts, whatever. Like, I'm all about live action. It's been a while since I've had a sports car, so I've got to get this Talon built. But once I get it built, it's balls to the wall after that. So just bear with us, but trust me, a lot of good content coming. In the meantime, I'm just trying to fill in with some value, some things that you guys might need to know, might want to hear, might not know about dealerships, about being a mechanic. I want to help those people that are aspiring to be mechanics and not get discouraged, because I feel like there's a bad stigma out there about it right now. Maybe not a stigma around the actual career, but the fact of going into that field, that maybe it's a dying field, or you're not going to make a good living out of it. That couldn't be further from the truth. I make a great living and I love my job, and I'm in a really good spot right now. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to do Seamless without going down that path. So it's been the pedestal for me. So anyway, let's get back to it. But I just wanted to remind y'all, we do have a YouTube channel. And the K-Swap, we're doing a Honda K-Swap on there if you don't know already. All of that's documented on there. There's about to be a new video about that coming up with the suspension and some other work we've done to it. The coronavirus has slowed us down on getting parts for the Honda. but I'm about to do a head build video, so get ready for that. With the Honda, we're not getting deep into the mechanical parts yet as far as the engine goes until we get all the parts together. And Deej wants to be able to drive it first, rip it, and have a good time in it first and feel how it is with the factory engine, just in a stock form, before we decide to get into it. So, but with my build, with the Talon build, you will be able to see that. And DJ's going to be right alongside because he wants to learn the mechanical aspects of it. So we're tearing the whole thing down. The head is getting completely tore down. The block is getting completely tore down. We're getting down to brass tacks. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. I'm going to make it completely mine. I mean, that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to touch every nut and bolt on that car. But anyway, so let's move on. So the reason I picked this car as the first one is because this is the iconic car for me when it comes to movies. Yeah, you're probably like, what? Out of all these other movies you can think of, the Fast and Furious, all these other movies, Mad Max, there's just so many that you can think of. Knight Rider and things like that. But, like, this is iconic for me because as I was coming up right before my teenage years is when Blade started coming out. And I loved it. I love the whole aspect of it, man. Like, he's a one-man show, and he's taking out vampires, you know what I mean? And this car was sick to me. The sound of it, the aesthetics of it, I mean, it was just amazing. Like, I just remember that one scene where him and the girl that he found that had been bit were going through the city, and it was like speeding up or whatever as he was going through the city, and I just remember the car going through there, and it's just one of those iconic moments for me. So I've always loved that car from the beginning. But anyway, so it's a 68 Charger, Dodge Charger. It's an RT version with the 440 with the six-pack. The reason it was a 440 with the six-pack is because of the hood scoop. Correct me if I'm wrong, muscle car guys, but that's what I know. Like I said, if Derek was here, he'd be able to help me out on this. So anyway, 440 with a six-pack. It's a 68 Charger RT, blacked out, and it's got the UV lights. If you haven't watched Blade, you need to go watch it and watch all of them. Trinity's really one of my favorites. But anyway, the first one's probably my very favorite though. But anyway, all black with the UV lights, and that is to kill vampires, obviously, because in the Blade series, vampires die from UV light, like they do from sunlight, But I've seen some vampire movies that didn't portray like actual UV light killing them. It's actually just the sunlight in general. But anyway, high-powered UV lights that if he sees some vampires at night, he can shine it on them and just fry them. Anyway, so the 440 had 375 horsepower, which for that size of engine, that's kind of low, but you got to think this is 68. So in 68, they had 375 horsepower out of that engine. That's pretty decent considering that efficiency wasn't as highest. They weren't necessarily maximizing all of the displacement back then. But anyway, so a little fact here is that Blade never actually had a car in the comic books. This was all brought on during the actual movie. I never read any of the comic books. I actually never read any comic book as a kid. I just love the movies. I watched a lot of movies as a kid, and so that's how I know Blade. So any discrepancies or whatever, I don't know anything about that. So blast away at that. But so he never actually had a car in the comics. So that's an interesting little fact. But anyway, it had the hood scoop, and it had the rally wheels too that came on the RT. So that was interesting. A little thing that people don't know is that it also had nitrous. I think he may have used it in a scene or two. I want to say he used it in Trinity for sure. The nitrous to catch up to the guys that were in front of him through that tunnel. It's been a minute since I've seen the movies. Maybe I should have went and watched them before we talked about it. But yeah, UV lights, nitrous, and he also had that shotgun that had garlic-filled shots in it. Was it garlic? Yeah, I think so. Because vampires are allergic to garlic. But That's pretty cool. The thing about this one is that there was only actually one hero car made, and I wanted to kind of set the groundwork for the rest of this series. A hero car is going to be that original car in the movie that it's the best looking car. It's basically the staple car that the rest of the cars are built around. Because I don't know if you know, if you guys know, but in the movies you're going to have more than one car. You're going to have a hero car. You're going to have a Hero 2 car. So let me just explain all of it. The Hero car is going to be, like I said, the staple one. It's going to be the main look that everything's copied off of. It's going to have the nice interior. It's going to have the nice exterior. It's going to have the whatever they're showing in the movie. If it's the nice engine, it's going to be the one with the nice engine. Then your Hero 2 movie is going to your Hero 2 car is going to be really close to that. It's going to have similar things, but they may not be exactly the same. It might even be a 69 Charger that's been modified. Not in this, but I was going to tell y'all that there was only one hero car made in this movie. But anyway, I want to explain the rest. So Hero 2 is, like I said, going to be really close. There might be little discrepancies. It may not have the same engine. It may have the smaller, 383, whatever, 388, something like that. But anyway, it's not going to have the same engine. It may or may not. And maybe a few different things. It may be that it looks the same on the outside, but it's not the same interior. So you may not get any interior shots from that Hero 2. They may use the Hero 1 for the interior shots. And then you're going to have stunt cars. The stunt cars are going to be real loosely based around the Hero. They're not going to be spot on. Like I said, it may not even have the same engine or interior or anything. It's going to be real loosely because they're going to use it in stunts to wreck them out and things like that. They may not even have the same wheels, and you may never notice it because it's a speed scene where you can't see the wheels. So I just wanted to clear that up because I know we're gonna run into that in a few of these movies, because a few of these movies and shows, because that's kind of the key to making movies, is that you got to have more than one car to do different scenes and stuff, especially if you're going to do stunts. So I thought that was an interesting little fact about it. Another thing I wanted to bring up that I've been learning recently. Sorry, I don't know the guy's YouTube, but I watched a guy that was actually the director for the car scenes and things like that for Fast and Furious, and that's where I learned some of these terms, and that's where I learned. I'll tag it below in the YouTube channel, on the YouTube page. I'll tag his page, but he was the director for, I think it was Fast and Furious and Too Fast, Too Furious. And he breaks down each car, each iconic car that was in the movie, and he kind of breaks down what a hero is, what a stunt car is, and things like that. And I was surprised to find out, I don't know why I was surprised. It's movies, so obviously they're going to alter things, but I was surprised to find out that a lot of the car sounds in the movies weren't the actual car that was being shown on the film. Like, for instance, I believe the RX-7 in the Fast and Furious, the red RX-7 that Toretto had, when he pulls up to the drag scene, that's not even actually an RX-7 sound. Which I should have known that, but for some reason it didn't dawn on me. It definitely wasn't a rotary engine sound. But I think he said it was a WRX that they used for the sound signature. But it was just funny that, like, some interesting things that he said, that like there was discrepancies, and like if you're a car guy and you watch that movie, some things you're gonna like cringe at because you're like, that's definitely not how that works. Like Danger to Manifold on Brian O'Connor's laptop. Why would that say that? You know what I'm saying? Like Danger to Manifold. How's he gonna know that? So on the scene where he slaps the laptop down and his floorboard comes out from underneath the car because it was riveted to the floor pan. Yeah. So anyway, he actually explains some of that and talks about that in the YouTube series that he has on it. And a lot of those cars were actually stock when it comes to the engine and stuff. Like that Eclipse, it wasn't even turbocharged. It was a naturally aspirated version of the Eclipse. So it wasn't a GST or a GSX, which blows my mind still. Like it was dressed up like it was a GST, I think, yeah. And it was a naturally aspirated. It was the 428 engine, and I don't know, it bums it out for me, because if you haven't heard my story, that was my favorite car in the whole series was that Eclipse, and that was the whole reason why I wanted my first car to be an Eclipse, but I wasn't allowed to get it. I had to get a Tiburon, but I tried twice. I tried tricking my mother into getting me an Eclipse twice before we got the Tiburon, but one of them she said was too old, and the other one, the gearbox was grinding in third and fourth gear, and they wanted too much for it, so. But that's neither here or there. But that's what created the Eclipse dream in my head. It's what created the whole thing, and so that's why we're here today with the DSMs. The Talon. If you don't know the Talon and the DSM is Talon and Eclipse. That's what they are. So that's what created it. So it just blows my mind. Like, it kind of ruins it for me that it's a non-turbo. I knew it was front-wheel drive just from the way they were driving it, but it was a non-turbo, and I'm just like, man, it sounded like it had a turbo, right? But it didn't. So I know we went off on a tangent there, but I just wanted to kind of explain how movies were built, and kind of shout out that guy, because I think it'd be really interesting for you guys, especially if you watch the Fast and the Furious series. But I like I said, this is going to be short little podcasts and videos here. There's not really much else to say about that, about the Blade car, but it's just really cool. I was learning about the Dodge Chargers, actually, and if you don't know anything about older muscle cars, every year or couple of years they change the body style. Like, you could get mixed up easy. Nowadays, I don't know, take the 370Z for example. They started making it in 2008, 2009, and they still make it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's 2009, 2008, yeah. And they still make it till this day. In 2020, they still got a 370Z. Same engine, same body style, same everything. Back then, it could change every year. Sometimes on the half year, the body style would change. I think it's if you look at it, 68's different than a 70, and a 70 is different than a 71, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they just kept changing the body style. So it was just real interesting on the Chargers. But this is by far my favorite Charger, is the 68. I like it over, I think it's a 70 Charger that's in the Fast and the Furious movie, the black one with the blower. I like the 68 over that one. So if I was going to get a muscle car, eventually, I will definitely get a muscle car. My family's always been Dodge family. My great-grandfather on my grandmother's side and my actual grandfather. They both love Dodges, and my grandfather actually had a 71 Dodge Charger. So it kind of brings everything together for me. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm definitely going to get a Dodge Charger, an old one, in the future for sure, somewhere down the road. And I think I'm going to try to do like a Blade replica. I know that's kind of talking big talk, but that'd be really cool. That'd be a cool design to do. So yeah, that's about it. Nothing much else to say about that. There's not a whole lot of information and facts about it, because it was just in the movie. It wasn't, didn't go any further than that. And so there's going to be some other cars that we talk about that's going to have more detail. Like, for instance, the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard. There's going to be a whole lot more information on that, because that series just lasted so long, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some facts and a lot of information, and some hatred towards the actual show, the Dukes of Hazzard, for some of the facts that we're going to tell you guys, because they kind of dwindled down the pool of Chargers available, because they totaled so many. But anyway, we'll get into that episode. We'll let Derek talk about that, because he's gonna spit all the facts on that one. But yeah, we just want to thank y'all for coming on, and like I said, I want y'all to bear with me on this, because like I said, I'm still learning, still trying to get used to the camera, still trying to get used to recording my voice, and trying to find good topics that you guys might be interested in. If you have any advice, hit me up. Let me know. You can DM me on Instagram at @TheRealStevie, or hit me up on Facebook or Twitter. It's @TheRealStevie on Twitter too. If you want to hit me up, follow me on there, check me out, and send me a DM about what would you like to learn. I'm a technician, I'm a mechanic. I know quite a bit about performance. No, I haven't been getting my hands dirty in the performance world, but up here I know a lot about it. I've studied a bunch about it, and I grew up around it, so I understand how performance works. I understand what's required to change a car from factory car with EPA regulations and emissions restrictions to an actual performance car that's built performance first minded. So a lot of people, I know already, and I don't care, but I just want to bring this up. A lot of people probably think that I'm all talk and that it's not going to show up in my work, and that may be a little bit more negative than it should be. They just probably think that I don't know and that I'm naive about it. But that's all going to come. That's all going to show up in my work, and I'll show you guys what I can do. But anyway, that's my background. So if you got any questions, or you would like me to do a video on anything when it comes to being a technician, performance, anything about cars, or you just want to DM me and ask me some questions about a car that you have that you're having problems with, or that you want advice on, hit me up. Hit up Derek. We'll answer them for sure. We'll make a video on it. And if you really want to come on the podcast, let me know. If you're a technician or you're interested in cars, I'll bring you on. We'll definitely bring you on and interview, talk to you, and pick your brain about things. And you can ask us questions, and we'll answer them, live. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Hit us up on that, and like I said, don't forget about our YouTube channel. And we'll see you on the next one. So later.